want to ask more daring questions of AI. Like I want to say, for example, if you're going to be around, if you're going to be omnipresent in our lives, almost like a god, do you function like one? Like, do you have spirituality? What's your moral compass? Like, how do you understand us beyond our physical embodiments and our economic needs, like a spiritual being? And if we can't find answers to those questions, then maybe it is not magic after all, and it might never be. I'm also asking these questions to myself. If AI were to intervene in my idea of spirituality, in what ways will it intervene? And it would be silly to think that AI is not going to have an influence on religion. It's a revolution as big as the printing press, going from like not be able to reproduce content to like all of a sudden you can infinitely reproduce content and spread it. Then you think about what that's done for like the Christian religion, going from the Bible being a sacred, very limited edition object that only erudites would have access to a Bible being in every single drawer of every motel. So what the printing press did for Christianity, you can only wonder what AI is going to do for us. What does it mean when this intersection happens? Is it dangerous? Is it interesting? Is it scary? So I think there's a lot of questions, a lot of curiosities that I have about AI and these sort of very human dimensions that are otherwise untouched by technology, but really they interact with technology in some ways, and they definitely will with AI. And so I wanted to go there. I really wanted to challenge myself and go there. And so I'm not using a typical religion in order to do this project. I'm actually using an indigenous religion. It's from my mother's tribe, which is the Serer tribe of Senegal. They're one of the oldest people in the Senegambia region. They're so old that like other languages in the region draw from them, and they have a belief system that used to be called animist, or sometimes can be called pagan, whatever. Though again, those are like Abrahamic filters, Abrahamic words on, but I don't think that's how they see themselves at all. They have a system of beliefs that relies on seeing the world as three different planes that interact with each other. So you have the plane of ancestors, you have the plane of reality, which is where everyone is, and then you have a sort of in-between plane where people and things can cross. And it's a religion that I even struggle to call it religion. I want to say it is a knowledge system that is sort of understood and performed ritualistically through nature. So nature is a huge part of this system of belief, this knowledge system. And in fact, there's like 5 sacred trees that you have to use for all kinds of rituals. And so it's a very interesting, it's an old religion. It's older than like Islam and Christianity and older than a lot of the religions we are familiar with. Because of the way it works, nature is a very intricate part. And so with nature disappearing, the groundings of the religion are sort of loosening, right? And so as climate change is rocking the Senegambia region, what is it sort of surviving in if the trees are dying, right? It's in an endangered place, which I'm always interested in. And it's also interesting because it's got a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of incantation and proverbs that bring up these imagery. It's very visual. And so I'm using that, and I'm doing a couple of things with it. I'm using the language, the Serer language, as a shortcut to the religion. I'm not doing this by myself. I have a collaborator and we're working on different aspects of the project. So he's working on training the multimodal LLM to try and sort of act as a priest of the religion or the knowledge system. And I'm sort of creating prayers or I'm opening up access portals by investigating visually what this imagery brings up. And I think the best way to do this is by playing with the latent space. And so providing a mix of frames and words that sort of bring up these incantations in like a visual form, and doing that both with images and also audio. And so the best way to understand this project, aside from asking a bunch of questions, which I think is the most important part of the project, is to look at every single piece of it as a portal. Like the same way a prayer is a portal to whatever God you pray to, this is the same to a religion that's relatively like unknown and obscure. This is the opportunity to look at like what Once Upon a Garden was from the first chapter. So if you think about it that way, it's the start of a very magical journey for me and for everyone who decides to pray with me. Pray to the machine, pray with the machine.